Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo, and the Patreon family. Also, shout out to On the Ropes Boxing Radio. They have a podcast. They interviewed Demetrius Andrade. He had very interesting things to say, which I want to talk about. The question to Andrade was, you recently returned to the ring as a middleweight. Can you let the fans know about your performance? Andrade says, yeah, my record is undefeated. I'm 25-0, two-time world champion in the 154-pound weight division. I moved to middleweight against the tallest middleweight there currently is. He was 6'5", had an 83-inch reach, and he came in 20 pounds heavier than me the night of the fight. That just goes to show you that I'm a risk taker, and I'm willing to get in the ring with anybody and show them who's really the best and give the fans what they want to see, right? Question, now that you're at middleweight, is this your permanent home or will you move down for a certain fight? He said, I don't believe that I need to go back down because when I was at 154-pound division, I couldn't get the fights. Nobody wants to fight the most feared fighter. I understand that I could be the most feared fighter, but if I'm not fighting the best fighters in the weight class, the business doesn't do me any good. So I took the risk of going up to the next weight class and fighting bigger guys. I've shown that I'm willing to do that and do what I have to do to be the best and the greatest and to have a Hall of Fame name. They also asked him, when you look at the middleweight division, who do you want to step in the ring with? Andrade says, the two top guys that are well known in the sport of boxing. The first person is Gennady Golovkin. He's been fighting at that weight for a while now, and he has almost every belt there. I think he's the only one missing. I think the only ones he's missing is the WBO belt. He's doing a lot of things in boxing as far as making noise and making a name for himself. He's someone I would love to get in the ring with to showcase my skill and talent and to see somebody who is a special one. He's definitely one of the guys to make that declaration with. Then you got Canelo Alvarez, who is popular and was at the 154-pound division. I was knocking on the door numerous times trying to make a fight with him, and he kept staring different ways. Now he's at 160 weight class, as am I, so he cannot run from this. Eventually, it's going to happen, and the best and the strongest will survive. He said, the question was, what do you think are your biggest advantages over Triple G in the ring? And he says, I just feel like I could do everything. I can adjust well. He can too. He's been around for a long time in an amateur program, so I know he has a lot of experience, and he wouldn't be where he is if he didn't have that experience. I believe you have to tune in and demand and keep speaking about this fight happening so you can see it and understand what the results and the differential is between Gennady Golovkin and someone like Demetrius Andrade. They also asked him, you and Canelo were both in the same weight class for a while. Do you feel he ducked you? He said, yeah, definitely. And people will hear me say that when I had the WBO junior middleweight title, he was supposed to be my mandatory, and they somehow took him from being #1 and put him somewhere else. I ended up not fighting Canelo Alvarez because I had some politics of boxing business. I got my belt stripped from me because of lack of activity, and all of a sudden here comes Canelo Alvarez fighting for the belt that I got stripped of. But he didn't want to fight me when I had it. That's a good example for people to understand. So link in the description, check it out. I just want to kind of hit on some of those main points that he talked about. Now, I did a video the other day and I'm going to clarify something. Team Derevyanchenko said they had an offer and they were in the 9th inning of negotiations, things of that sort, to fight Demetrius Andrade on the Billy Joe Saunders versus David Lemieux card. They claim that Andrade pulled out of the fight last minute, said he needed more time to prepare, and I made a video about it and I spoke my mind. I don't take anything I said in that video back, but I did say if this is true, because there's two sides to every story. Since that time, Team Andrade has come out and cleared the air and gave their side of the story, and they said that's not what happened. They said there was never an official contract and this, that, and the third. So you guys can do the research. I don't really care. I mean, the bottom line, the fight is not happening with Derevyanchenko, and it might have been a good look. From what it sounded like in the rebuttal from Andrade, is the fight can happen in 2018. And they actually brought up a very good point in the case of what really went on the December 16th, Derevyanchenko, who's a mandatory for Golovkin, I believe, with the IBF and Andrade fight. And Team Andrade presents this and suggests this. Okay, if Andrade pulled out of the fight because he was ducking or scared or whatever, then why isn't Derevyanchenko still fighting on that card? And I haven't heard a response as of yet from Team Derevyanchenko, but that's a very good question. They accused Demetrius Andrade of ducking and made it out to seem that Andrade had this wonderful opportunity on a high-profile middleweight card, and he just turned it down because he was afraid. But if that is the case, one monkey don't stop no show. Why is Derevyanchenko still not fighting on that card? So it might be more than meets the eye with that. But I'm not here to, I don't really want to get sidetracked on that. I like the call-outs from Demetrius Andrade. I do still think that there's been aspects of Demetrius Andrade's business career where the smoothest moves haven't been made for him to succeed. Very skilled fighter, undefeated fighter, but he has to build off of momentum. So I think Derevyanchenko, if they could fight January, February, March versus Andrade, that would be a great step in the right direction. If Andrade is really and truly what he says in this particular interview, in this podcast, if he wants to fight the Canelos and Triple G, he got to make that noise again. You know what I mean? I thought the Willie Nelson performance was a great performance. He was on Showtime, he was on the main card, a lot of boxing on that night, and then he kind of, you didn't hear nothing from him. Then he fights Jack Kukale overseas, and it wasn't his best performance. Then you don't hear from him. And then he fights Alantez Fox, who's the 6'5" guy he's mentioning in this interview, and then now you don't hear from him. So he can't, he has to stop that. Him and his team have to stop that, where it's like, I call it stop and go traffic, where it's you do something good, people are taking notice, and you don't ride that wave. Like, one person who I think has done a great job of it recently is Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder knocked out Bermane Stiverne. It went viral. Everybody was talking about it. And he's been doing a good job riding that wave, eating the hottest chip alive, doing several interviews, being on ESPN, Sports Center. He's making his rounds, and he's staying visible, calling out Anthony Joshua, building off that momentum. That's what Andrade needs to do if he really wants to fight Canelo Triple G. As fights, those are great fights. Great fights. And I hate to say this, but I told you guys, the walls are closing in for Triple G from what they claim in terms of, oh, we've been ducked for several years. Don't get me wrong, there's some people that duck Gennady Golovkin. But now the division is plentiful. You got certified threats. Demetrius Andrade, Charlo, Canelo's there. Danny Jacobs already gave Golovkin a hellacious scrap, right? There's some good quality, very solid matches that can be made up with Gennady Golovkin at the moment. I would love to see Charlo versus Andrade, Andrade versus Triple G, and so forth. So Triple G, he's kind of surrounded by tough fights. You still got Billy Joe Saunders, David Lemieux. That's a good win for them. You know what I mean? So no matter what you slice, how you slice it, there should be some good, compelling middleweight matches in 2018. Let me know what you guys think. What would Andrade need to do to get a fight with Canelo? Because we know the business, and obviously there's money in the rematch between Canelo and Triple G. What do you think Andrade could possibly do, or who could he face to gain the type of steam that he would need to lure one of those guys into a fight? Let me know your thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.